Welcome to Progressive Retail. I'm your host, Cory Mosley. Thanks for joining us today. Today, I'm sitting down for an exclusive interview with Tim Brock, founder and CEO of Client ConneXion. We're going to be talking about the evolution of chat and consumer data and buying habits in today's marketplace. Let's get started. Tim, thanks for joining the show today.
Hey, Cory, thanks for having me.
So, Client ConneXion, it's mostly known for its managed chat, right? Clearly, you've seen an expansion or a need within the dealer environment to, and I talked about this in my opening, the idea of managed chat, when somebody came to me with it years ago, I remember having the conversation. I had one of those, nobody would call a guy to come drive them anywhere statements, right? The same thing people said about Uber, the same thing people said about things that we use like every day now, right? I had one of those who needs a home computer moments. I'm like, who is going to give you their information blindly on the chat? And I really poo-pooed the whole idea of it. Now, luckily, nobody was asking me to invest, so I don't have like, oh, I missed, a big wave deal. But just the intellectual conversation, I'm just like, I don't see it. I think people are used to forums and they use the forums. Clearly, I was wrong. Okay. So, chat companies have come. Yours is one of the big players also in the space. What are you seeing, though, now that's made you broaden the reach and say, hey, we've processed all these chats. You're doing thousands and thousands of chats, right? What are you seeing? What are you seeing in consumer behavior that's brought you to the point where it's time to go deeper and broaden ourselves with our customers?
Well, in reality, because our software exposes literally all of the behavior that happens on the website, and we serve those behavioral analytics up, oddly enough, we found companies that did not really know how to do paid search, fooling their clients. And the clients used our software to prove that to them. For instance, if a client has 150 to 200 visitors a day, and then all of a sudden within an hour 1,500 people show up on their website. Right. Well, our software shows, we capture the IP address and we can see exactly where those 1,500 people came from, and they're all coming from the same IP. Right. So there's something in the milk is not clean, as they say. So we did a little digging and dug further and found out that it was a media and ad company that had done that, hired it out to somebody else. You can $40, you can get 10,000 clicks tomorrow. Right. But that's not relevant. Shoppers looking for their inventory, and that's not legit. So oddly enough, by default, we kind of backed into it. So I went out, hired a Google webmaster, and then we started offering paid search as a service so we could do it right. Because if we can control and increase the quality of the traffic that comes to a dealer's site, then obviously our live chat's going to go off like a pinball machine and have quality conversations, set appointments. So
it's almost a byproduct. It's like a marketing company now that has to start building their websites because they're sending traffic and the website's so terrible it's not converting. So it's born out of that idea. You're exactly because there's all this talk right now. I'm not the analytics guy. I don't claim to be. There's other guys on the network who are much better at that than me. But we're hearing about bots. We're hearing about all this, the fake clicks, and you're starting to hear more and more of these exposés coming out, and it's very challenging. I mean, what do you say to dealers now that want to do the right thing? They're trusting people. I'm always the guy that tells them, hey, don't be afraid to be first. Don't be. But it's almost like the warning now that's on cigarettes, right? This will kill you. It's almost like this warning where you're like, hey, be first, don't be afraid. But then you find out stuff like, you were finding out for your clients. Correct. Well, what's a dealer to do, in that situation?
You have to be cautiously optimistic. Right. You just have to inspect what you expect. Right. But really, ask your marketing team, what is my cost per conversion? Because conversion is where it's at. That's what matters. So, for instance, I have a lot of competitors that pride themselves on generating a lot of leads. Right. Some flash advertising, ads on the website, and the customer clicks on it, they fill out a form, and they consider that a chat lead. Right. Right. Okay. But that's not really a chat lead. That's a form fill. A chat lead is coming on and having a conversation with somebody, finding out what make, model, and color they want. If they're looking to put money down, if they have a trade, are they looking to finance? We can push the credit app right to the customer, get them in the app online, and then sell the appointment.
The digital retailing piece.
Absolutely. Right. So, the point is conversion. So I pride myself and I grade myself on how many cars am I selling for the dealership as opposed to how many leads am I generating.
So one of the things, from talking to you, you're like, man, we got people killing it on Craigslist.
Yes.
And Craigslist, I think, has always been one of those things that, because it's Craigslist, like you know what you think about when you think about Craigslist. So it's one of those things that like came on. I know there were companies out there doing it, and then it kind of went away. And then and then we were having that conversation. And you're like, I got guys crushing it on Craigslist.
Yes.
Why should Craigslist be on a dealer's radar right now?
Well, because for $5, you buy a 30-day slot for that vehicle. Now, if you're not with the right Craigslist company, you're stuck with that spot. So, whereas, as the dealers sell through their inventory, we edit and replace the sold VINs with new VINs. So
now, what's hot right now? So, is Craigslist a place for dealers to be with under $10,000 cars? Is it their whole inventory? Is it specialty? Is it special finance? Like, who's that marketplace really for?
It's really for everybody. It just depends on how much budget you want to allocate to it. So with a limited budget, you're just going to want to stick to your trucks and your SUVs.
Okay.
Craigslist is excellent for those.
Okay.
But
market.
Pardon me?
Like, does the market matter?
It does. Every city is different. Like Dallas, for instance, has 4 or 5 different markets.
Right.
So I'll just give you an example. Dealers are spending a lot of money on AutoTrader and a fair amount on Cars.com. We've got other studies that show that one's outperforming the other, and I won't get into all of that.
Sure.
But the point is, I have a dealer in Dallas that takes 100 cars, and they'll post in 3 different markets on Craigslist in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
Right.
$5 a car, that's $1,500 just for the inventory.
Right.
We charge them $6.99 to put it all together because they get a recorded conversation, they get a credit app, they go to a landing page which has the live chat, text.
Now, and it takes all of that. I mean, it takes a village to sell a car now, as I like to say. Like, you really have to, I'm assuming you're a proponent of not just chat, but that text, working the phone, like that whole ecosphere.
For sure.
To really figure out where your customer, what's the sweet spot for how they want to communicate.
That is correct,
Yeah.
but the investment that I just walked through, it's about $2,100.
Right.
But they get 15 to 25 leads a day and sell 25 to 30 cars a month. So the ROI is phenomenal.
Why do you think more dealers aren't? Why do you think they're not all over this?
Well, I think it's because Craigslist has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and when they started charging for it, it just created another level of separation between the dealers and what's actually going on. So, but the dealers that dive into it, they get it. They're not telling everybody because if they're the only ones there, it's not a matter of just being there. You have to do it right. You can't just have an ad on Craigslist and do the normal Craigslist. You need to have links that go to landing pages so you can have other mechanisms to convert, going back to my cost per conversion scenario.
Let's pivot for a minute. There's all this conversation about SEO, how much you need, how much you don't need, how difficult is it, should a dealer be paying for it constantly, Google algorithm changes, all these different things happening, right? So, is there a secret sauce when it comes to SEO and landing pages, and like what is the must? I'm a dealer, I need to check, not a service I need to buy, but in general, looking at it at a high level, what is that must look SEO, the correlation between SEO and landing pages, where we are today? What's the real power in that, and kind of what should dealers be looking for?
The secret sauce I'm a little hesitant to reveal, but I will say unique content.
Just whisper it to
me. Unique content.
Okay.
That's really the key. A lot of people for a lot of years have come in and tried to charge $3,000 to $5,000, and it's phantom. I'm going to do this custom work, but the reality is the dealers have a hard time seeing the results of their payment.
Right. I've covered attribution before on show, so that's one of those attribution moments of what's really driving the decision. So unique content is all you're going to do.
Custom content is the key.
Okay.
But I will say, if you use the custom content in conjunction with your paid search efforts, by that I mean you take a paid search click, you landed on a page that has custom content and all of the information about the keyword that they typed into Google, Yahoo, or Bing, and give that customer no reason to go anywhere else. Well, Google's going to reward you, with the high quality content landing page they're going to reward you with a lower cost per click, because
Right.
it makes their job easier to serve up relevant content to the users that they're making money off for the ads.
Right. Well, one of the things I talk about is this idea of a net negative ROI. And what I mean by that, as I explain it, is sometimes dealers have every widget in the building, right? They have this high expense structure. They have all these leads coming in.
Right.
And there's a tipping point where they're doing so much that their return, it's not just key to key, point to point, but overall, there's 800 leads coming in and two
Right.
people that have the responsibility. They go, Cory, we get all these leads here, but now you've created a net. There's no way you can get the ROI because you're just out of whack. So with all of this technology and all this creation, your company is really specialized in creating opportunities to sell cars, right?
Correct.
So now starting with chat, now, Craigslist, SEO, some other things. But where does training play a role in this whole piece?
That's the interesting thing. Training really is the glue to expand all of this, because
Right.
you can't just dump more leads on somebody. I think it's Joe Webb. He had an internet series about the evolution of the internet director at a dealership.
Sure.
And progressively they just had more and more work to do for the same pay, and so on and so
Right.
forth. So training, people like yourself who come in and actually show these salespeople how to be more efficient, how to say more, say less and be more, how to do more and just be more efficient, up their game. Michael Jordan shot 1,000 jump shots a day.
Right.
The greatest basketball player ever to play the game.
Right.
And so training is up there with importance. It's just as important as the leads, because if you don't know what to do with them, why have them?
Now, it'd be good if you knew anybody that did. No, so let me so let me ask you the question I ask everybody, all my guests. Crystal ball time, okay? So if you went into your crystal ball and you looked in it and did your whole deal, what are your predictions for automotive retail? The stuff that we're going to put on camera, and 2 years from now I can go back and say he was spot on or he was crazy or whatever. What are your predictions for the future of automotive retail?
Video.
Okay. Now video's here though.
It is here.
Okay.
But video done the right way.
Okay.
Google owns YouTube.
Right.
So a dealer that doesn't have a YouTube presence, again, the right way, with sitemaps and video tokens attached to those videos that are also on their website, then they're missing the ball. Now you can get into video retargeting.
Right.
People will, the statistics say that 8 out of 10 cars bought last year, the consumer watched a video. 8 out of 10 times they watched a video before purchasing the car. So what does that tell you?
Right.
The devil's in the details in the data, plain and simple. So dealers that are ignoring video, and I'm not saying check the box and I'll take the video that came with my website.
Right.
That's not
the Ron
doing
Popeil
video.
method. Check,
right.
Set it and forget it, as I like to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't have relevant content to where your videos from your website start showing up in the top of the search results, you're not doing video. You've just checked the box and called yourself doing video.
Right. Awesome. I always get I get some analogies and some cool stuff the dealers should be doing. Thanks for all you're doing for dealers, and thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity.
You got it. That's our show for today, but here's a question. Why aren't you and your team training with me? You need to check out our on-demand training, testing, and certification program, Mosley 24/7. This online training system equips your team with the new school skills they need to start selling more cars right now. Visit Mosley247.com for more information. Also, if you have an industry colleague that could benefit from this message, please share this video with them. This has been another episode of Progressive Retail with Cory Mosley, exclusively on the CBT Automotive Network. I'll see you next week.